says to me, yo, darling, you're asking too much here. You know, I'm not a machine. I can't just turn off my hunger for other women.
Oh. Men.
Sure.
Can't live with them, can't shoot them. The fact that my 2 husbands survived marriage to me is certainly proof of that.
Oh, amen. Hey, talking about marriages, what are you going to do about that engagement? Macy and Anthony.
Oh, what can we do, Darla? I promised Macy I'd give her plan to trap him a chance to work. I just hope she knows what she's doing.
I don't know, Sal. I think Macy's playing with fire here, you know? Getting herself engaged to a confessed murderer.
Oh, Darla, can we talk about something else, please?
Yeah, sure. Oh, hey, how about that hearing, huh?
What hearing?
The big Forrester extravaganza.
Something big going on at Forrester?
Yeah, Brooke and Taylor, they both want Ridge.
And they're going to court about it?
I'd hate to see that catfight, huh?
I just wonder how it'll turn out.
Well, maybe the judge will do a King Solomon, huh? And award each half. I know which half I'd like. Hey, I'm not finished with you yet.
What this must be doing to Eric. I gotta go somewhere, darling.
No, Sal, not like that you're not. Come on.
Huh? Oh, all right. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Make some magic, and then I'm out of here.
Sal, 5 minutes, you're not talking magic, you're talking a miracle here.
So, okay, make a miracle. Put a part in the Red Sea. Throw a couple of waves in it. Make it good, Darla. I gotta look my best for this one.
Okay, you got it.
You want to begin, Mr. Danforth?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Like the court, I believe this matter can be resolved with great dispatch. It's a simple issue, really. Was the marriage between Taylor Forrester and Ridge Forrester a valid marriage? Well, I don't think anyone here can argue that. Second, has that marriage been dissolved by court decree or death? The indisputable answer is no. That being the case, Ridge and Taylor are obviously still married. There's no reason they wouldn't be. And we'd ask at this time that the court enter an immediate judgment for Taylor Forrester. Ridge and Taylor should continue to be, in the eyes of the law, husband and wife.
Is that all?
Yes, Your Honor, we rest.
You don't intend to call any witnesses?
I don't feel that we need to. They've already admitted to the prior existing marriage. We have nothing else to prove. Your Honor, this is a clear-cut case. We shouldn't even have to be here.
I'd like to say something, Your Honor, before you make a ruling, if I may.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Thank you. I'm sure we all appreciate the hardships that Mr. Danforth's client has had to suffer. She was certainly the victim of a heinous crime, and that's something I'm certain we all regret. With all due respect, Dr. Hayes did not come to these proceedings with completely clean hands.
It is Dr. Forrester. My name is Dr. Taylor Forrester.
My point being that Brooke's claim is certainly no less valid than Taylor's.
You're implying that Dr. Forrester may have done something that would have invalidated her claim to this marriage?
That's right, Your Honor.
Do you have evidence for this?
Yes, I do.
Then let's proceed. Mr. Danforth, I'm not going to rule on your motion for summary judgment at this time. I want to hear some testimony. Who do you intend to call first, Mr. Davis?
Your Honor, if it please the court.
Yes, Mr. Simmons.
Both lawyers have had a chance to speak. Now, I know my client isn't technically a party to this proceeding.
But you would like to speak on his behalf anyway.
Judge, he holds a marriage certificate that claims he's married to Taylor.
That isn't valid.
Just a moment, Mr. Danforth. While it's true that Prince Omar Rashid is not mentioned in either of these petitions, I do realize that his rights are going to be affected by this. You may speak very briefly on his behalf, Mr. Simmons.
Your Honor, I object to this.
We have no objections, Your Honor.
Of course you don't. This is clearly prejudicial to Taylor.
You're damn right it's prejudicial. She married Prince Omar. Now, that's a fact that can't be disputed.
Gentlemen, I'm going to say this one time. Another outburst like this, and I will have to tighten things up considerably. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, what about my objection?
It's overruled. Prince Omar, your attorney may speak.
Thank you, Your Honor.
My client, Prince Omar Rashid, courted and then married Taylor Forrester last year. At the time, he knew her as Layla. During the courtship, at no point did the prince act in any manner other than as a prince. He protected and cherished his beloved. He treated her like someone he valued above all others. He certainly would never have forced himself on her. He loved her, Your Honor. And more significantly, she responded by loving him back. Oh, I could tell you tales, stories of conversations held between them, words of appreciation, devotion, depth. Suffice it to say that had there not been reciprocal feelings, Taylor never would have married this man. No one put a gun to her head. She didn't need a husband. She wanted Omar Rashid as her husband. And so, in a royal ceremony witnessed by many hundreds of people, they married. Yes. My client is a member of a royal ruling family. But he's also a simple man. A married man who loves his wife. He wants her back, Your Honor. Thank you for hearing our petition.
May I say something here?
Not yet.
But I wanted to.
Taylor, not yet.
Mr. Davis, do you want to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. I would like to call Ridge Forrester to testify.
Sally.
Hello, Eric. Am I interrupting?
No, you're not. Come on in.
Thank you very much. Oh, wow! Wow, what a dramatic place. Beautiful place you got here.
Thank you.
Do you entertain much?
No, Sally, no.
Oh, that's a pity. You certainly got the space.
Yes, I suppose I do. What can I do for you?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing you can do for me. I came to see you, to see how you are. I heard about the hearing.
The hearing? Yeah, well, that's sort of a private family matter. I'd just as soon not talk about that, Sally, but just sit down. Yeah.
Thanks. You know something, Eric? Every time I hear you say something like that's a private family matter, it isn't exactly your voice I hear, it's Stephanie's. It is that very cautious, overly suspicious voice of somebody who always will have no use for me and probably will always hate me. But that's not your voice. Is it, Eric? You don't hate me, do you?
No, Sally, I don't hate you. In fact, the matter is, Stephanie doesn't hate you either.
Well, maybe hate's too strong a word. Let's just say she despises me. But listen, I didn't come here to talk about Stephanie. As a matter of fact, that woman is the farthest thing from my mind at the moment. You could do me a big favor if you could put her out of your mind, too, at least for the next half hour or so. Treat me like a friend. Because that's what I am, Eric. I think you know that.
Mr. Forrester, you may remain seated. Mr. Davis, begin your questioning.
Thank you. Ridge, I just have some simple, straightforward questions to ask you. Now, they're not intended to be embarrassing, so if you feel uncomfortable at any time, just let me know, all right? Now, how long after Taylor was presumed to be dead did you marry Brooke?
Several months.
And now, in retrospect, do you feel that maybe that was too soon?
No.
Are you ashamed or embarrassed in any way to admit that you love Brooke and that's the reason you married her?
No.
And when you married her, Ridge, you took on a family as well. Her 2 children. Isn't that right?
One of them, Bridget, is my biological child. The other is my father's child. But no, I did not just take on a family.
Would you explain that, please?
Those kids have always been my family, even while I was living with Taylor.
And now you're living with them.
Yes.
So has that made a difference in any way?
Not in how I felt about them, no. But it has made a difference to the kids.
What kind of difference?
They really like having me with them. No, they love having me with them. And I love being with them as well. We've definitely bonded, the 4 of us. That is a fact that no one can deny.
Yes, you're right, Sally. Times like this, it is important to have a friend.
Well, you got one. Here I am, pal. Just tell me what's bothering you.
It's a hard time, Sally. Especially for my oldest son, for Ridge.
I can imagine how it might be. Two outstanding women like Brooke and Taylor. Who could choose between them?
That's not even the problem. Fact is, I think Ridge could be happy with either one of them. I honestly believe he loves both of them. And that's the problem. When Ridge has so much admiration and respect for both of these girls, it just tears him up inside to see what's happening to them.
Do you know why this has happened to these two women, Eric?
No, Sally. Do you?
Brooke and Taylor are struggling with this because you happen to have raised a particularly remarkable son in Ridge. They both know it. Neither one of them wants to lose him. And I can't say as I blame them.
But it's so demeaning, Sally. In this day and age, for a woman to find herself locked in battle with another woman over a man, I mean, it can't do anything for their self-esteem.
I see, that's where you're missing the point, Eric. There is nothing in this world more worth fighting for or more valuable than love. Nothing else even comes close.
You're right about that.
And for Taylor and Brooke, well, these are a couple of strong, independent women, Eric. They're not a couple of weak sisters who can't survive without a man. This isn't a catfight. They know what they've got, that's all. They know how valuable and precious it is. More valuable and precious than anything else. More than money, more than fame, more than success, power, anything. So, Taylor and Brooke are fighting the good fight. It's just a shame that both of them can't win.
Now that we've established that you and Brooke and the children have bonded as a family, let's talk about Eric Jr. and Bridget for a while, shall we? Are they doing well in school?
One of them is in nursery school, the other's in kindergarten, yes. They're doing very well.
Do you have a chance to spend much time with them, Ridge?
I see them every day.
Would you say that you spend more time with them now that you're living with them than you did when you weren't living with them?
Well, yeah, I see them every night when I come home from work.
Of course. You spend most nights together, the four of you. You and Brooke, and little Eric Jr. and Bridget. A family, having dinner together, watching movies and television, just generally having family time, isn't that right?
Yes, that's right.
And that would certainly change if you were to move out, wouldn't it?
Obviously.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you, Ridge.
Your witness, Mr. Danforth.
So, Mr. Forrester, if you were to move out and live with Taylor again, you wouldn't be spending as much time with your children. Is that what you're saying?
No, that isn't what I'm saying.
But Mr. Davis just asked if you spent more time with your children now that you're living with them.
And I told him I did.
But if you were to live with Taylor, it wouldn't be the same.
That's true.
What would make it different?
Having lived with Eric Jr. and Bridget, I realized how important my presence is to them. So I would take that into account when I was making up any schedule.
You'd make them a priority. Is that what you're telling us?
The highest priority, yes.
Tell us about your marriage to Taylor. How would you consider it a successful marriage?
Yes.
Any problems to speak of?
Who doesn't have problems of some sort?
Serious problems, Ridge. The kind that may have caused you to consider divorce.
I never considered divorce.
And what about Taylor?
No.
Ridge, would you say that you and Taylor loved each other?
Yes. Very much.
So, if it turned out that you were still legally married to Taylor, and you chose to live with her again, you're telling the court that it wouldn't affect the way that you treat your children?
course not. I would never treat them differently.
It would be a challenge, though, wouldn't it? Spending as much time with them as you do now?
I'd make it work, counselor. Nothing's gonna come between me and those kids.
I didn't think so, Ridge. Let's go back to your wedding of last fall. Now, you mentioned that you and Brooke were married several months after you heard of Taylor's alleged death. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Well, that was pretty quick, wasn't it?
I was dying, Mr. Danforth. That was the second wife I had lost in 3 years.
A wife that you were deeply, deeply committed to. A wife that you loved, as you said earlier.
That's right.
And because you were so anguished, so devastated, literally dying, as you just put it, you did what you had to do to rid your memory of the loss of a woman that you loved so dearly. Isn't that right?
I was in more pain than I'd ever been in my life. But if you're asking me to tell you that's the only reason that I married Brooke, it isn't.
Not the only reason, Ridge, but one of the reasons. Isn't that true?
Well, you have a unique way of looking at things, Sally. I have to hand you that.
Well, you know, Eric, I always thought you and I complimented each other in that way.
Is that so?
You have a very sophisticated, severe, suave demeanor about you. Very classy, very mature. I'm sure it gets you a lot of respect. But I have always suspected there's another side to you, a more basic animal side. Something kind of wild with an irreverent sense of humor. Doesn't come out very often. Occasionally you do let it out of its cage to pound its chest a little bit. And I have noticed that usually shows up when I'm around.
You don't say.
Yeah. You want to argue the point?
No. Not with you, Sally. So you think you bring out the animal in me?
Yeah, I do. Mighty big place you got here, Eric. I'm sure it gets lonesome at times.
Only during the rutting season?
Well, now you're being facetious. But please remember what William Shakespeare said. The profoundest truths are often found in jest.
Maybe I'm not jesting.
Then I win either way.
Well, I think maybe you're right, Sally. I think maybe you do bring out something in me. I'm just not certain I like it.
You like it. You're just not used to it. Get used to it. It'll be good for you. I can show you some long, winding roads, Eric. Full of nothing but excitement. The kind of roads you haven't traveled down for a long, long time. I'd be happy to do the driving. Show you the sights. Think about it. You think about it. Oh, yeah, you think about it, all right. That'll probably keep him up all night.
Isn't it true, Ridge? Isn't it a fact that one of the reasons you married Brooke was to forget about the one person that you loved more than anyone else in the world? Taylor. The woman that you thought was dead. And isn't it true that if you'd known she wasn't dead, you would have never considered marriage with anyone else?
That's irrelevant, Counselor.
Your Honor.
Well, we all know that he would not have married Brooke if he had known his wife was still alive. That doesn't prove anything. I have a question for you, Mr. Forrester. You loved Taylor when you married her, and you loved Brooke when you married her. But what are you feeling now, sir? Which of these women do you want to go on with? Because ultimately, as a practical matter, the decision is yours. Is it Taylor or is it Brooke?